Screen recording, I'm just going to walk you through how to set up a Google form from scratch, which is what my action plan is to do, is to set up all of my special education students' data collection forms by scratch by using a Google form. So I'm going to go right in, log into my Google account, which I'm already in there. I'm going to go to my Google Grid, click on Forms, then I'm going to always start from a blank form. This is what gives you the option of personalizing it for each kid. So I'm going to click a blank form. I'm going to give this form a name. So I like to just use the student's first name and last initials. First and last name and initials. And I'm going to just title it Letter Naming and Sounds Goal. Then in my description, I already had the description I took from another thing, so I'm just going to paste that in there, and then this is that screen that I'm going to call what I would consider like my dashboard. So it's going to say, what data are you inputting? And this is where I'll go back later and add in the hyperlinks. But I want this to be a drop down, and then this will give me the option to say identifies letters in first name that's the first thing, and then produces one sound for each letter in first name. So that's just kind of my home screen. This is what I want to know from this form, what's going to be collected on it. Then from there, I'm going to come over here, I'm going to add a section. And so you can see that my first section is identifies letters and first names, so that's what this is going to be titled. So there's that. And I'm going to add a question in here. So I'm going to add it in as a multiple choice grid. And actually, I don't really need... Well, I can leave that there. Okay. So I'm just going to say identifies letters. And then I'm going to go through each row and add the letter that I want him to know. And then his next letter is an O, but since it's already in the form, it won't let me add it again, which I don't need to. If he knows it, he knows it. And then column 1 is going to be yes. And if I add a column no, column 2 will be no. So then that is all that I need for that question. So then I would be ready to add another section. And then you can see that it just gives you a basic, does he know the K, yes or no? This entitled, this next section would be produces sounds. That's going to be for each add a question. And again, I'm going to choose the multiple choice grid. And then I'm just going to do the same. Five letters I did up above. Column 1 is going to be yes. Column 2 is going to be no. And then this is where I like to add for some students. I won't do it for this student, but you could add a linear graph in here about like if you wanted to collect time on task during your work time. It just gives you some more information about that student. But for now, just to keep it simple for this student, I don't need to know his time on task. So I'm going to just leave that as is. Okay. Over here, you could continue to add questions. You could import questions if you had them somewhere else. You could add titles and descriptions, images, videos, or this is where you would go to add sections. So that is basic, the basic way that you would set this up for the sheet. And then when I was all done with it, I could hit send, and then it would tell me, well, I could send it if I send it to my own email address. Just send it. And then if I go to my email, it should be there. I can click fill it out in Google Forms, and then I can choose what am I doing. I'm doing the letters in his first name. And then I could just score from there. I could score yes, 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 yes. And then I could go on to the next, which would be the sounds, and maybe those are no, 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 no. And then when you're done, you would hit submit. I'm not going to hit submit because that would mess up this data form. I don't need this data point in there for him. So, but that is how you would set up the Google Forms.